So Iran is using a strategy against the United States that could potentially have them the winner of this war that we're fighting today. I'm going to share with you all exactly what this strategy is, why it's so important, what we have to learn from it, and how we need to position ourselves as a country to ensure that our loved ones that are fighting abroad are protected at its most vulnerable stages. So I want you all to stay locked in, have a lot to share with you all. This is a strategy that the mainstream media is simply not telling us, but I'm going to share exactly what this strategy is and what exactly Iran is using to call this war a win on their part. Stay locked in. Good evening, everyone. I'm excited you all are joining the Michael Lindell experience for another episode. On this one, guys, we're going to give you a brief update on what's taking place in Iran. And this is a strategy that have recently come out. It's been a strategy of theirs for some time, but I want to share it with you all because it's so important. If you have loved ones overseas, if you have anyone that you know that may be in the military, or just for your peace of mind to know exactly what is going on in this war, I'm going to share exactly what's taking place. This strategy that they are using against us may look like a win to us, but to them, this is a win, right? So, but before we get into it, I want you all to like and subscribe to our channel because that's the only way in which we can continue to push out great content. I want to know exactly what you want to hear. I want to know, what's your feedback? I want to know exactly what you're thinking about this. I have my own perspective in terms of, what I believe is taking place, but, what do you want to hear? What are your thoughts on these particular topics and what other work, if you want to share some information with us, some news with us that can better increase our quality content to you all. We want you all to be engaged on that level. So feel free to like, subscribe, share this channel with anyone that you believe may be, a beneficiary of it. So let's just jump right in. So we all understand the United States and Israel bombed Iran on February 28th. Here's the plan. What happened in the Iran's war strategy that we're discussing today? So the plan looked straightforward. Ultimately, the plan looked straightforward. Take out the supreme leader, shatter the command structure, let the regime fall apart, then watch the population rise up and replace it. It's one of the oldest war tricks that the United States have always played. It's the same thing. It's the same process, right? It had worked before. It worked in Iraq. It worked in Libya. It worked in Syria. And it nearly worked in Venezuela just weeks before the war began. But it didn't work in Iran, and the reason why changes everything. For 2 decades, Iran carefully studied how America fights wars. When Saddam Hussein's government collapsed, Iran was paying attention. When Gaddafi was hunted down and killed, Iran was analyzing every step. When Bashar al-Assad, eventually fled to Moscow, Iran was studying the outcome. They weren't just watching, they were learning. One of the key figures behind this effort was General Mohammad Jafri of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Jafari noticed something important about the modern United States military strategy. In Iraq, in Afghanistan, and Balkans, when a government was highly centralized, the United States could strike leadership targets, what's known as decapitation strikes, and the entire system would collapse quickly. Remove the head, and the body stops functioning. So Jafari asked a question that reshaped Iran's entire military structure. Like he went in, he's like, you know what? We have to envision exactly how we need to fight our wars, or in terms of being prepared, what is it that we need to do to make sure that we win a conflict that may arise. So he basically said, if this strategy is ever used against us, how do we survive it? The answer became something called the Mosaic Defense Doctrine. Yes, the Mosaic Defense Doctrine. And so to understand it, picture an actual mosaic, okay? Hundreds of small pieces, different shapes, different colors, individually separated, but together they create a single image, okay? Iran redesigned the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps using this exact concept. So instead of just one tightly controlled command system, they divided the force into 31 semi-independent commands, one protecting Tehran, which is their capital, and 30 more tied to each province across the country. The goal was simple, right? If the central leadership is destroyed, the rest of the military keeps operating. Each regional unit controls its own. Missiles, drones, intelligence networks, command structures, they don't need permission from Tehran to then fight. That one defense analysis explained it this way. Every province becomes its own operational cell, even if communication with the capital is cut off. Commanders can continue functioning and coordinating military activity locally. Now, here's where the system becomes extremely difficult to defeat. The unit in northern Iran often doesn't know exactly what the unit in western Iran is doing. And I think Pete Hegseth had mentioned something about this when he was speaking. He said simply, they don't know what they're doing. I don't know if anyone remember hearing that clip from Pete Hegseth, but he said, they're not really communicating. Again, this is by design. This is a part of their strategy, a part of that Monroe Doctrine, right? So, I'm sorry, the Mosaic Doctrine. So that lack of centralized information is intentional. It's very intentional. We have to understand that, because if regional commanders don't know everything about each other, then foreign intelligence agencies can't know either. You can't strike targets you can't clearly identify. You can't eliminate a system that doesn't have a single center. That's why traditional decapitation strategies didn't work and haven't worked. It's very difficult for it to work. So for decades, the American approach to regime warfare has followed the same basic model. Find the leadership, eliminate the leadership, the rest collapse. But the Mosaic Doctrine was specifically designed to prevent that collapse. Even if the top leadership is removed, the military structure keeps operating. And I want you all to pay attention to one thing. This is one of the things that Donald Trump has said a lot, in these speeches regarding Iran. Trump has basically called the people and said, hey, listen, this is your time to shine. This is your time to take over your country. So Trump is essentially trying to get the people to rise up, but they have not risen up to the degree at which the United States is hoping and is expecting. So think of it like the mythological Hydra, right? Cut off one head and the other one quickly replaces itself. So on the first day of the war, Iran's supreme leader was killed. Within days, a replacement leadership structure was already functioning, and the military response continued. Iran's foreign minister, Abbas, made this clear on March 1st when he said, "We have spent 2 decades studying the defeats of the United States on both our eastern and western borders. We adapt accordingly. Attacks on our capital do not disrupt our ability to wage war. The decentralized Mosaic defense system allows us to defend or to determine when and how this conflict ends." When and how. Because the Mosaic Doctrine was never designed to guarantee a battlefield victory. It was designed to guarantee something else. And this is important. To make victory for the other side so costly that pursuing it becomes unsustainable. Hence, what happened in Vietnam. We pulled out of Vietnam because the people at home just got tired of it. We were killing so many people during that war. We could have won if we would have stuck it out. But Iran also understands this same concept. The entire strategy focuses on stretching out the conflict, draining resources, increasing financial pressure, and slowly turning the war into something politically unpopular for countries fighting it. There's a term for this kind of outcome in military history. It's a Pyrrhic victory. Technically, you win. But the cost of winning is so severe, you wish you never fought the battle in the first place. That, in a single sentence, is the strategy Iran has built its entire military around. And this is something that we need to be mindful for. As a country, we need to understand that Iran may be using a system or process or strategy that is by design intended to wait us out and to use these 30 provinces outside of Tehran to continue to fight the battle of the United States. Now, I hope the United States win. I hope they believe that we can pull this thing out. I don't believe that our military just simply do not know or understand that this is the strategy of Iran. I don't think it's that private to the point where our military intelligence just simply do not understand it. But however, this is a game plan that we've seen, that we've used to fight battles. But it always comes down to, we can have the greatest military out there, but using our technology, using the equipment that we have is very, very expensive equipment. Iran understands this. So if he can find a way to prolong the war and to get people here at home to fight against it or to protest against it and say, listen, we're spending too much money. What about our wealth? What about, things that are happening here? The cost of everything is going up. Let's just end this war. This is not our war. Now you start to apply pressure to the administration for them to somehow pull back. You have the Gulf region. Charlie Kirk had mentioned this and said, listen, his biggest fear was that, Iran would try to drag the region countries into a war. And so because we are now starting to see that, this is something that we all understand that, yes, this is a part of Iran's overall strategy to pull other countries in, to tire everyone out because of the pressure, the financial pressure and everything that comes with it. So I wanted to share this information with you all because it's very important to understand that we are not fighting a conventional war. We're not fighting just bombs and we're just fighting people with guns and ammunitions and things like that. But there's also this strategy that people understand that you cannot defeat America by using ammunition or bombs or things or which have you. The country is very big. It's 90 million people. So if they can have these various provinces that have their own military, their own government system, it's almost like a redundancy. We see this a lot in engineering where, one thing breaks, you have something else that comes in to replace it quickly, right? And so they got 30 systems. So think about 30 small countries that are ready to go on a drop of a dime. So this is what I want us to be prepared for. And this is something that may require boots on the ground. I hope it doesn't, but it's just some good information that you all can have to, share with your family and your friends, people that you may already, you may have family or friends that's currently in the military, but, this is something that, that you may want to, preview to them. So hope this information finds you well. Again, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and we would love to hear exactly what you think. Let me know what you think about this information. What do you think about this doctrine? Do you think this strategy will hold up? Will this give an Iran a victory? I think the United States need to go ahead and claim victory now before we get to the point of needing to pull out. So let me know your thoughts.